clock is ticking for foreign nationals in the United States. President Trump's administration has dropped a 30-day ultimatum, and the consequences are more serious than ever before.
The deadline for registration under the Alien Registration Act is today. All foreign nationals present in the United States longer than 30 days must register with the federal government.
From potential jail time to daily fines nearing $1,000, this warning isn't just talk. It's the start of what could become the largest deportation drive in American history.
Failure to comply with this is a crime, punishable by fines, imprisonment, or both. As President Trump and Secretary Noem have both said, if you register and you leave now, you choose to self-deport, you may have the opportunity to return later legally. But if not, you will be arrested, fined, deported, never to return to our country again.
So who is safe? Who's at risk? And what does this mean for immigrants, workers, and students across the country? Let's break it all down right now. Welcome to Entertain and Educate Talks, your hub for stories that matter, where politics meets reality, and global headlines get decoded in a voice that speaks to you, not at you. If you find this content insightful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you never miss an update. On April 12, 2025, the Department of Homeland Security, led by Secretary Kristi Noem, dropped a bombshell. All foreign nationals in the U.S. for more than 30 days must register with the federal government. Fail to comply? You're looking at steep fines, potential jail time, or even a lifetime ban from ever returning to the U.S. legally. The message from President Trump and Noem is crystal clear: leave now and self-deport. But what does this mean, and why is it happening now?
The Trump administration will continue to enforce our nation's immigration laws. We will not pick and choose which laws to enforce. We must know who is in our country for the safety and the security of our homeland and for all American citizens.
The policy, announced via a fiery post on X, is part of Trump's aggressive push to curb illegal immigration, a cornerstone of his 2025 agenda. The DHS says it's about knowing who's in our country for safety and security. But critics argue it's casting a net so wide it's causing panic, even among legal residents. Here's how it works. If you're a non-citizen staying longer than 30 days without registering, you're breaking the law. Penalties include a jaw-dropping fine of $998 per day for those who stay after a final deportation order, or $1,000 to $5,000 for promising to leave and then sticking around. Oh, and don't forget, jail time and a permanent ban from legal immigration could be on the table. But it's not all stick. There's a carrot too. The DHS is heavily promoting self-deportation through the CBP Home app, and they're sweetening the deal.
So we're encouraging people to use the CBP Home app to register, and we're working on the resources and funding to buy them a plane ticket to send them home. I went to El Salvador, Colombia, and Mexico, and those countries and others are thinking about setting up programs to support these individuals when they get back to their countries. So when they get there, they'll have housing and food assistance, and so making sure that these folks have the opportunity to go home so that they can get the chance to come back to America is important. And
if you leave voluntarily, you can avoid a criminal record, keep your U.S. earnings if you're not facing criminal charges, and maybe even score a subsidized flight home. Plus, they claim it keeps the door open for legal immigration down the road. Sounds tempting, right? But here's the catch. Critics say it's a pressure tactic, pushing people to leave without fully understanding their rights.
A lot of tools in our arsenal, Tom, but as you noted, 11 million plus illegal immigrants coming into this country in just the last 4 years. It really has been an invasion. So, of course, you saw President Trump invoking that Alien Enemies Act, which the Supreme Court ruled in our favor, that we are able to use that against an invasion in our country. But President Trump and Secretary Noem also unveiled the CBP Home app, which gives illegal immigrants a tool to leave now and self-deport and potentially come back to live the American dream. But there is also further incentives as far as we are going to start fining illegal immigrants $1,000 a day if they remain in the country. The message is loud and clear, Tom. If you don't leave now and you're in this country illegally, we will find you, we will arrest you, and we will deport you, and you will not come back. So it's in your best interest to leave this country now on your own accord.
Now let's talk about who this doesn't affect, at least not directly. If you're on a valid visa, like an H-1B, a student permit, or a green card, you're in the clear, mostly. But you'd better carry proof of your legal status at all times because enforcement is ramping up. However, there's a gray area. H-1B holders who've lost their jobs and stayed past their 60-day grace period, or international students without proper documentation, could find themselves in hot water. This has sparked fear that even legal immigrants might get caught in the crossfire of overzealous enforcement. Why now? Well, this policy ties directly to Trump's campaign promise of the largest deportation in American history, aiming to deport up to 1 million people in his first year.
President, when he called me after he won the election and said, Christy, what would you like to do in my administration? What would you like to help me with? I said, sir, I'd like to be the Secretary of Homeland Security. And he said, why would you want to do that? And I said, sir, because it's your number one priority. And you need to have someone in that job that is actually strong enough to do what you promised the American people, who will make the decisions and continue making the decisions even when it gets difficult. Months and months and even years after you take office, we're going to have to follow through on that promise.
Since taking office, his administration has already deported thousands, including 332 Indian nationals in special flights. But experts are skeptical. Deporting millions would require massive resources. Think thousands of new ICE agents, detention centers, and billions in funding. Logistically, it's a Herculean task, and some say it could disrupt communities and economies. For context, Trump deported about 1.5 million people over his entire first term. My take, this policy is a double-edged sword. On one hand, it's a signal that the Trump administration is deadly serious about immigration enforcement, appealing to voters who see it as a matter of law and order. On the other, it risks alienating communities, overwhelming the system, and potentially violating due process. This 30-day warning could reshape the immigration landscape in America. Whether you're a citizen, a visitor, or someone waiting for your papers to come through, the message is the same. Be informed, be prepared, and stay legal. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and share it with someone who might need to hear this. Subscribe to Entertain and Educate Talks for more crucial updates and deep dives into stories shaping the world around you. Stay safe, stay smart, and as always, keep learning.